After months of speculation and days of denials, General Motors Holden has finally announced the decision its Australian workforce has feared. The company will stop production of its iconic Australian car brand from 2017. It means the loss of nearly 3,000 jobs in Victoria and South Australia and may spell the beginning of the end for the automotive industry in this country. The company blames a high dollar, the rising costs of production and a small domestic market. But today's announcement sparked a political war of words in Canberra, with both major parties blaming each other for Holden's demise. Chief Political Correspondent Sabra Lane.
This is it, and this time I know it's for real.
There's no decision been made.
The time is now, and the car is Holden.
Either you're here or you're not.
This is it.
What a difference a day makes. Just yesterday, the chief of Holden's Australian operations insisted the company still hadn't made a decision on whether to stay or go. Early this afternoon, workers were called to staff meetings at the company's Melbourne and Adelaide plants and told from 2017 production would stop.
2017, it's over. That's what we were told. Yeah, it's just shattering, absolutely shattering.
Be one word, gutted. That'll be it.
1,600 jobs will go in Adelaide, 1,300 in Melbourne. Kane Butterfields worked at Holden's Elizabeth plant for 14 years. He's separated from his wife and has 3 kids to support.
I can't even really explain how I'm feeling at the moment. 14 years in the same job. It's pretty hard.
He found out about the closure from a mate who texted him before his shift.
A couple of the guys from General Assembly on day shift sent me a text message saying that they were at a meeting and the company was telling them that they were going to shut the plant down.
Holden will maintain a national sales network, a parts distribution service and a design studio, similar to what Ford's promised to do when it shuts production in 2016.
Building cars, as painful as it is to say, building cars in this country is just not sustainable.
Holden's chief, Mike Devereaux, delivered the news to staff at the company's Adelaide production line.
In many ways, Australia's automotive industry is up against a perfect storm of negative influences, including the sustained strength of the Aussie dollar against almost all major trading currencies, the relatively high cost of production, and the relatively small scale of the local domestic market.
Well, there hasn't been a decision made on Holden's future.
Mr Devereaux insists the decision to close down production was made in Detroit after he delivered evidence yesterday to the Productivity Commission's inquiry into the automotive sector.
General Motors made a decision to exit manufacturing in Australia a number of hours after my testimony at the Productivity Commission yesterday. And I got on a plane as soon as I could after that final decision was made, and I came here today to talk to our employees first.
Holden follows Ford and Mitsubishi in exiting Australia, and it signals the demise of a cultural icon. Holden started making cars in Australia in 1917. Mass production started in 1948. The last car will roll off the production line in 2017, making it a century of car making.
100.
Generations of drivers have identified themselves as being Ford or Holden men.
Watch me straighten this corner.
With Peter Perfect and his Tirana gaining legions of fans throughout the years.
Road test a radial tuned Tirana at your Holden dealers now.
The handling is really magic.
Today's announcement follows a week of escalating tension with claims and counterclaims.
They made it absolutely clear what they needed, the timelines on which they needed it, and the current federal government decided to ignore that. And then to add insult to injury, started bagging the company and creating the most hostile possible investing environment. They wanted to invest $1 billion in this country to have 2 new models. They put that to us. We didn't ask for that. They put that to us. They put it to the federal government and to the state government, and the federal government decided to just simply set their face against it.
Leaks from within the government last week alleged the company had made a decision to close, but it held off announcing it. In recent days, the Prime Minister, Acting Prime Minister and Treasurer all demanded the company clarify its future intentions, demanding it do so before Holden's Australian chief delivered his evidence to the Productivity Commission inquiry it set up. The opposition claimed ministers were simply looking for an alibi, and not surprisingly, the official announcement sparked a blame game in Parliament and happened while the Prime Minister was still flying back from South Africa.
This is a difficult day for Australians, a difficult day particularly for the Holden employees.
Yesterday we had the remarkable situation that the Treasurer of this country dared, threatened the company and dared them to leave Australia. Hockey dares GM to leave. Well, guess what, Madam Speaker? Guess what, Madam Speaker? The Treasurer got his wish.
You know, there wasn't that outrage around when under Labor Mitsubishi left and Ford left.
Where was that outrage? Where was that outrage from Labor?
Haven't you got what you wanted?
Labor says the coalition's policy to cut $500 million in industry assistance to the sector from 2015 is the main reason for the company's departure. The government argues it was inevitable and would have taken months, if not years, to make. The decision to shut leaves Toyota as the only major manufacturer in Australia, and many analysts believe it'll be the end of the road for them too, meaning the livelihoods of dependent small businesses and component suppliers are also on the line.
It's now highly likely that Toyota will leave Australia. In fact, it's almost certain, and this will spell the end of 50,000 automotive jobs.
There was Joseph Benedict Chifley, who watched the first car roll off the production line at Fisherman's Bend. And it'll be his namesake, it'll be Joseph Benedict Hockey, who sees the last car roll off the production line.
I and the government still believe the car industry has a future in Australia and will be working towards that.
The premiers are flying to Canberra tomorrow for a COAG meeting on Friday and are due to dine with Mr Abbott tomorrow night. They won't be short of a conversation starter.
Sabra Lane reporting.